It is an absolute disgrace that Pete Hegseth has withheld casualty numbers in the Iran war from the American public. One of the biggest questions Pete Hegseth has to answer today is why he was out marketing testosterone supplements for our troops last week while withholding casualty numbers in the Iran war from the American people. We learned yesterday that the Pentagon failed to disclose that our troops sustained nearly 100 injuries in the past few weeks of the Iran war. Sending our troops in harm's way is the most serious thing we can do as a nation. But Hegseth, Trump, and Rubio certainly don't treat it that way. Hegseth is hiding more than he's sharing these days, whether it's the number of wounded, the damage to our bases overseas, or the immense ballooning costs of this Iran war blunder. We need answers, but Hegseth wants to give some to the GOP alone. Hegseth is reportedly attending a House Republican meeting today to brief their members on the war without providing Democrats the same access. There's no room for this administration's partisan pettiness when our service members' lives are at stake. Yet that seems to be a trademark of both Hegseth and Trump. I'm calling on Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, and Donald Trump to tell the entire Congress everything they're telling Republicans about the Iran war. Both chambers, both parties. Everything they tell Republicans behind closed doors needs to be shared in public during today's testimony. But I don't need to hear from Hegseth to know just how poorly this war is going. If we truly care about our service members' well-being, we ought to be focused on getting them out of harm's way, not on their testosterone levels. We will be forcing another vote this week on our War Powers resolution to bring our troops home and end this war. Senate Republicans, don't let Trump off the hook. The Iran war isn't a game. It's not some trifle Trump, Hegseth, and Rubio can brush under the rug. Trump's reckless war is an absolute catastrophe. It must end, and Republicans should join us in making sure that that happens. So far, crickets from them. Corruption. Every single day, we see a new example of Trump's rampant corruption. Senate Democrats are putting all of Trump's scams under the magnifying glass in the coming weeks, and Trump's new Truth API stands out as one of his most corrupt gifts yet. Every day, there's a new example of these kinds of grifts that Trump gets involved in. Instead of draining the swamp like he promised, Trump has filled it to the brim. Now, look at this. Trump is charging admission. For the low price of $100,000 a month, an investor can turn a profit off early access to Trump's market-moving posts. Trump imposes new tariffs. Subscribers can short their stocks before anyone else. Trump announces a new contract. Subscribers know where to invest. Trump shakes up the Fed. Subscribers get to reposition before the rest of the market blinks. Meanwhile, Trump rakes in hundreds of millions of dollars in subscription fees. Truth API is the exact definition of insider trading. It's textbook pay to play. And this is what Donald Trump spends his time doing. And remember, traders need only a millisecond head start to make a fortune. Just 1 millisecond and they can make a lot of money the way trading works these days. As always, Trump's corruption benefits the rich at the expense of working families. How many American families do you think can afford $100,000 a month to get a leg up in the market? And Trump is doing what he always does, selling out America, American interests, and the American people to the highest bidder. Republicans ought to be up in arms about Truth API and the latest news about Trump's foreign jet. Trump's $400 million Qatari jet is the biggest single bribe an American president has ever accepted in our history. Let me repeat that. Trump's $400 million Qatari jet is the single biggest bribe an American president has ever accepted in history. And I've been warning about this for months. And somehow, the American people still get an invoice. It'll repeatedly cost the taxpayer as much as $1 billion to retrofit Trump's plane for presidential use. We just learned that his luxury jet is grounded until it can be maxed out to meet the same standards as the old Air Force One. Give me a break. Commercial airline tickets costs are up 27% over the last year, and Trump wants the American people to pay to get his airborne palace off the ground. Trump ought to rename the plane Air Farce One. It's not Air Force One, it's Air Farce One. Now on the Benjamin Flowers nomination. The nomination of Benjamin Flowers ought to concern every member of this body. Flowers checks virtually every box the MAGA right expects from its judges. America, this is who Trump's putting on the bench, people far away from what you believe. Flowers has fought against birthright citizenship, against abortion rights, against the results of the 2020 election. What Flowers has fought for is also disturbing. In 2021 in Ohio, Flowers tried to defend a $250,000 cap on damages for a child sex abuse survivor, a cap the Ohio Supreme Court deemed arbitrary and unreasonable. Flowers is also on record saying that a president can simply ignore a court's reasoning when he disagrees with it. Election denial, attacks on reproductive freedom, siding with abusers over survivors, and the president over the Constitution. Is this the kind of president Republicans want on one of the highest courts in the land? I urge my colleagues to oppose this nomination. Yield the floor and note the absence of a quorum.